Howdy do, buckaroos. I am your host at The Slice, Kelly Guimont. Welcome to yet another video about WWDC coverage. WWDC happened today. We are going live. I am here with ADHD technology coach Brittany Smith. Hi, Brittany.
Hey, Kelly.
I am glad you are here. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the new version of iOS.
Right?
iOS
I'm
16,
excited.
it doesn't get cute names like macOS does. Where we always have to get the big build up from Craig Federighi about what the team has been up to name the new thing. All we get on the iOS side is a number. So 16 is where we're at.
Monterey minus Big Sur equals. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
Is that new math? Like I never quite understood new math.
1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Oh, 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
There.
Okay, before the singing telegram shows up, we should just talk about some of the features of the software. One of the interesting things that we saw that's sort of a headline feature in iOS, I think, is the lock screen, which doesn't sound like something that should be considered all that exciting, except that you can do way more to customize it now than just turn off notifications and choose a different background. There's a lot more to it, right?
Yeah.
Which
so
you
here's
know
my
because
default.
you've already installed it.
This is my default. I use black because, and I have not tested this out. In the old days, when you had a lock screen, in the medium days, the lock screen background was the same as your notifications. And if I had
Mhm.
anything on it, it would make me crazy just a little bit. So
Yeah.
I will test out if that's true. But so this is my default lock
Mhm.
screen like this.
Well, and that's the default option that we're seeing there, which is the notifications are
Yeah.
sort of the bottom of it. They're not the bulk of the screen. And the reason they're not the bulk of the screen is because now you can have a lock screen widget or widgets. It's up to you. And you can basically turn the front of your phone into the face of your watch, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they stopped. I feel like they ran right up to the edge of calling them complications and then pulled back. Like right when they got there, it was very tense. It seemed like they were going to go all the way to calling it notifications or complications, and then went, nope,
Nope.
nope, nope. They're widgets. They're widgets.
They're widgets. They look different than the phone widgets, but they're widgets. And you
Mm-hmm.
can have multiple lock screens. And they can sync with your focus mode, which is also
Just like a watch
interesting.
face.
If you I don't know, say are the type of person who might work with somebody like me and have a little bit of time blindness, to have an extra cue that like, no, we're doing this right now.
Yeah,
And it's a little bit more direct.
yeah, that was one of the things I liked about it, was that like you could switch between them, but also you can customize a lot about them. So the font that is used for the time, the font that's used for the date, what things actually show up there.
We should be careful. This isn't like Android level customization, right?
No,
This
it is
is
not.
this is hey, there's 6 fonts. You can choose between them. And there's like
Yes.
you can pick your background like before, or you could use one of theirs that does some dynamic, fancy looking stuff. Um, and the notifications down or below, and then something that is coming later will let active information go through. And
Yes.
I am forgetting the name right now, activity something or another.
I don't remember what they called it. It was like an active notification or something, but it was like your Uber ride, like watch the Uber rider's progress as they make it to your door or whatever it was.
Which it's like,
Um,
who's getting so many Uber rides that you would have a lock screen dedicated to it? I don't know the answer, but not me.
well, if these widgets work like iOS widgets, you could have a stack, right? So it would be a smart one that would pop to the top because it knows you're waiting for an Uber ride. So that would show up on your lock screen because you know it's coming. Sort of
But
like when you go to Starbucks and your Starbucks card shows up in the notification center because it's in your wallet, or you're near the Apple store and your Apple card's like, "Hi, it's been a while," that kind of
maybe,
thing.
But right now, these just look an awful lot like complications. An awful
Yeah.
lot.
So yeah, so this is exactly what it looks like. So you go to that edit screen, and you can see up there um uh what sorts of things you want to put up there. And one of the things I know that they have added, which was a thing that you and I both went, oh, that's interesting, when we were watching the keynote, was activity, because activity is now no longer 100% tied to having an Apple Watch.
The thing we used to call activity that is now fitness,
Fitness.
right?
Yeah.
Because now they want to
Yeah.
call activity this other new thing that's coming later.
Yeah.
There are not as many apps options as you have on regular widgets. They're calling
Sure.
them widgets, but this is not a wide variety. And this is a phone
It's
that has
not.
an off, like there's no shortcuts, for example.
Mm.
I cannot launch shortcuts from it, which when I heard widgets, I'm not gonna
Got all
lie, that's the
excited.
first thing I thought,
Yeah.
and no
Well,
shortcuts
well, yet. And I will
currently.
point out that this is the beta released at the end of the keynote. Like as soon as the keynote was finished, and you could go get a beta. That's what's installed. That's what you're looking at on Brittany's screen right now. And I personally adhere to the Star Trek movie rule of betas that I made up, which is you really don't need to bother until you get to even numbered releases.
And
Don't really bother with the first one. Second one, maybe, even
that is
still.
it. I get these 4 little things, up to
Mm-hmm.
4. That's all.
Okay.
There's no, like, add another line
Can't
of
have another
widgets.
row. Okay. Well,
Right.
for a brand new feature, giving it limited functionality feels a little better. Just because maybe there's less stuff to break in that case since it's brand new. So fingers crossed.
And there's the option to link it to focus. I can't
Okay.
tell directions on this thing.
Yeah, it's
So I
hard.
can link this particular one, and then I can have more than one. So,
Hmm. And I do
and I can
like
see the
the
air
option
quality.
to,
That'll be great in a couple months.
yes. I also like that you can also swipe between them if you're not tying them to a focus mode. Again, because I said this a whole bunch of times when they were pitching this feature, just like my watch. You can have it switch to a different one based on a focus mode. You can have it you can swap between them, at different times of day and things like that.
It changed the background for my app screen too, which not a fan of.
No, no, it
So,
should be, yeah.
well, I'll experiment with that some more and update as needed. But
Okay. Well, we also had, we did get a little bit of an update to focus mode because those have had some changes. And I know
yeah,
focus modes are a thing that you spend a lot of time with in particular.
and I
Focus
care a
modes and
lot
notifications,
about.
I know, are things that matter to you a lot. So, yeah.
They
So,
are. And in this new one, if I create a new focus mode, I actually have the option to pick if I want to opt people and apps in or opt them out. And
okay.
for people who've been like, I want this to be everything except, my work Slack or something like that. And
Mhm.
there is an API, which Apple introducing an API means it only works if developers implement it, right?
Mhm.
To say, this is the part, like these are the calendars you can show me in my personal focus.
Yeah.
These are the whatever apps integrate, like only show me these Slacks if in fact Slack uses it, show me these
Yeah.
during personal time or these during work time.
Mhm. Yeah, and I was pleased to see that because sometimes it's nice, especially if you have a work Slack installed on your personal device. Maybe you don't need to see it all the time, and it's not necessarily that you need to pause notifications for that. At certain times, I know Slack gives you that option, but just the work account, or maybe there's like a work adjacent account, and you want to make sure that you're not getting those notifications at a certain time or anything like that. And I did appreciate that they were, different accounts for the same thing. So,
Yeah.
work mail, if everybody's using the mail app on iOS, um, if you are, my heart goes out to you. But also, if you are, you can make sure that some of those accounts, yeah, you have an account chooser. So some of those accounts don't necessarily have to be, um, giving you notifications like they normally would, during those other times. So I'm glad to see that focus modes are getting refined and not just scrapped in favor of something else, or continuing in the same sort of um, only minimally helpful mode. It was just sort of like you can have a couple different do not disturbs, yay, and I'm glad to see that they've sort of improved and expanded on that in a better way.
And you can pick
Because
if
we
a
got
focus always is in dark mode or if it's always in low power mode. I don't know the use
oh
case for that one, but it exists. Um,
yeah, hmm, I like it though.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
hmm,
interesting.
yeah, definitely. I don't know what those use cases are. If you do, by all means, tweet at us and let me know what would make a focus mode trigger low power. Like what your use case would be for that, because that seems like a pretty specific thing, and I can't come up with a reason why that would be what I would want it to do. Which doesn't mean it's not out there. It just means I can't think of it right now. It's been kind of a long day, and I really didn't sleep very well last night, so it's entirely possible that like it's rattling around somewhere back there, and I just can't access it yet today because like not all the pathways are firing on all cylinders. So, um, I'm I feel like iOS got a little bit of expansion and refinement of stuff that we already had in a lot of ways, aside from the lock screen, which was sort of an expansion of watch complications. Like they just sort of expanded off your watch screen and onto your iPhone screen. So that seems like a pretty known quantity, I would say overall, which is kind of nifty. But a couple of the other things that were neat were there's like some better collaboration in messages. You can share things better. You can edit messages now. You can unsend the thing with the terrible message with the terrible error in it. You
Within
send
a few seconds of when you
like
originally
10
sent it and you
seconds.
see that typo. I don't remember the
I think
exact
it was
number.
I think it was 10 seconds, I think. So something like that, but at least, I sent that message was for Mr. Kelly, and I was just texting Brittany, and I just texted it to Brittany instead. And Brittany's not the person who needs to know, could you please pick up milk at the store, or, something far more
I
interesting.
have a friend who would have deleted a text to me um just this last week and it was meant for somebody else. Not a big deal, but it was one of those things where she'd said, "Oh, I'm going to try to send you this type of information through our Discord instead of over text." And so it was like, "Oh, oops, wrong channel." And
Yeah,
so that's a thing that she would have removed if she'd had the option.
yeah. In fact, this morning, just in the couple of hours before the keynote, I got a message from a friend of mine that had a typo in it that then got sent again, and still had a typo in it, and then the message, the third message with a little bit of swearing, and then autocorrect, or autocorrupt, as I have taught my keyboard to spell it, autocorrupt. And then like this was the word I was actually looking for. So I'm hopeful that people like Mr. Kelly, who aren't sometimes the greatest at proofreading messages, and the one word that got autocorrected is the one that now makes the entire message make no sense. Maybe he will get the opportunity to sort of, oops, take it back. Let me try that again. Okay, let me send this one that makes a lot more sense. Um, Maybe someday I'll tell you the story of one of those misfires, but it is not this day. I'm just glad to know that for some people that will be a thing that will be helpful. One of the other things that was sort of nice in this was Apple did talk about privacy. They talked a little bit about security, and they talked a little bit about um, helping people who are in abusive relationships and being able to have personal safety and have some of those things, as they were considered, and talking about them. And I really appreciated how they were talking about it. It was direct, it was straightforward. They didn't spend a ton of time on it, but they didn't gloss over it either, and just sort of go, we have features for people in abusive relationships, and now we're going to talk about the next thing that's way more exciting. Like they spent a minute, explained they didn't get into the nuts and bolts of how to do things, but they said, like, here are some options that are available for people who are in these kinds of situations, need to get out of them. We can help with these sorts of things, and here's some stuff that you can do for yourself if this is a situation you are in. And then they moved on to the next thing. And I really appreciated that they were direct about it and didn't, and I felt like it was the right amount of time. We didn't beat it into the ground, and we didn't spend a whole bunch of time. We said, here are the organizations we're working with on this kind of information, and now we're going to talk about one of the other features that's coming in this operating system. So I did appreciate it in that respect.
One last one, the medications, both tracking
Yes.
in the health app what medications and supplements you're taking.
Mhm.
Mild looking for interactions, but I think they're going to probably downplay that because that is a big thing to promise,
Mhm.
in terms of health and stuff. But they did talk
Yeah.
about it, and then a possibility for medication or supplement reminders. I
Yes.
was impressed. More options than I would have expected from Apple for their first go around for the reminders, like
Mhm.
picking color and what the image looks like and stuff like that. And the option
Yeah.
to for
There was a
caregivers, because last year they introduced the sharing health things so that you can know if the
share your health
person you're
records.
doing caregiving for has taken their medication or not.
Yeah, and I did really like that feature, because that also was another thing that felt like we've uh we made an initial pass at this, and now we're just sort of expanding and refining based on that initial feature. So I appreciated that was a thing that was happening. Pass keys was a thing that came to Safari. We talked about this a little bit with Mac OS, and this is about "Hi Ricky," which was really exciting. Like, getting to see somebody in the video, that like you've actually interacted with in the world, was really exciting. For me, because I'm kind of a goofball like that. But pass keys is a thing that is helping to sort of bypass passwords entirely, and it looks really cool. It's going to be secure and help with phishing, because basically, like, you don't know your password, therefore you cannot enter it into the website that is masquerading as your bank, or an antivirus company, or Spotify, or the Apple Store, or whatever, and try and spoof your credentials out of that. Like, you don't know it, and if you tell your phone, I want to log into this, your phone's going to go, that's not the website where this goes, so it's not happening.
But yeah, that they're also linked very specifically to one website. So you can't accidentally enter it into another website and have it work. It just
Right.
doesn't
And
work.
that, yeah, but you can enter it into the right website even if it's not your computer, which was the part that was very exciting
Right.
about it. It
And
was like, it
the
will work
demo
on that
was with
website.
a friend's PC, which was great.
Mhm. Yeah, I did appreciate that part. Um Live text is coming to even more things, I believe it was. Um
Video
Video, you can get it in
and
video, and I think,
a beta within a beta of live transcript.
yeah, live transcript I think is going to be interesting. Smarter dictation was a thing that we got that I think is going to hopefully be really neat.
I mean, I won't say no, because right after they announced it, I accidentally dictated a message to my husband that spelled nerd incorrectly.
Yeah, there's no you in nerd, S lady. I don't know who needs to hear this, that's in Cupertino working on the assistant, but there's no you in nerd. There's really not. We got there's some changes coming to Apple Pay, which I also thought was interesting, like breaking down the payments into chunks. You can get, I think, 4 payments or something instead on some things, and the shipping notifications for stuff that you buy with Apple Pay might also be a thing that happens, which is hopefully pretty good, because I know sometimes it's really hard to track all of those. So I'm looking forward to that happening. Driver's licenses are coming along was another thing we saw. Um, Driver's
That
licenses
was a
and,
cool
and
thing, was the
IDs,
option to share that you were over 21, not your specific age, so you can't be targeted as easily.
which was another thing I appreciated about that one, was like, I'm old enough to be on this website, is a very different thing from this is exactly how old I am. And so I did like that.
Yes.
I am
Please
reserving
make
judgment on
assumptions about me by my date of birth.
Yeah, that's only gonna ever end badly for most people. The Home app is allegedly redesigned. I'm going to reserve judgment on this. I know you have it installed on your device, and so I will definitely want to check that out later. We'll see how it goes. Um, it says it's going to be more efficient and reliable, and like I guess that would mean it would at all be efficient or reliable, and like in that case I'm sort of excited, but at the same
It can't
time,
be less.
yeah, like that bar is laying on the ground and you're telling me you're going to clear it, and I'm like, really? Like, yeah. I've heard that story before. Apple. I'm not sure
I
how much I
I did
believe
just
you
discover
with
that I
that.
have lights on in Eugene, so there's that.
Which is not where you are, for the record. That's not where you
No,
are.
it's not.
Um I did also like family sharing is going to be cool because they're you may want different levels of sharing depending on who the person is and what kind of restrictions you think they may need. So that was kind of great. Um, and there's sort of a checklist of like reviewing controls for things for different members of your family, whatever that may be. That seemed like also a pretty good thing. I think it was the iOS demo where we got the wall to wall car display, like like the acres and acres
They
and
had a
acres
special
of all the stuff that
CarPlay
CarPlay can
thing.
do.
And I was
Yeah.
just, yeah, if we need to have more screens instead of knobs, which you can reach for from memory and not look at instead of the road, sure, we could do that.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot. I wasn't sure. Um but definitely like I said earlier, install the current beta at your own peril. It is beta 1, and there will be many sharp edges. And if this is your day to day device, this may not be the best idea for you. So definitely
For the
check that out.
record,
Brittany,
this
what are
is
you?
not my day-to-day device.
No, it's not. Yeah, to be fair. Um, so
I'm not
what are
saying
you
I
looking
won't
forward to?
install that tomorrow, but we'll see.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to checking out most though in the new operating system?
I mean, I don't want to sound like a stereotype of myself, but I'm probably going to look at shortcuts pretty closely. Probably going to look at home automation stuff pretty closely.
Hmm.
Um, gonna look at the focus mode changes and the lock screen stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
gonna be big things that I'm really digging into.
Well, reducing the space available for notifications was the part I sort of wondered about longer term. You know what I mean? Because like it's
It's
sort of the bottom third of the screen now, as opposed to everything below the time could be a notification.
the the lock screen I'm looking at really carefully because that more than anything else has the potential to be much better for overall usage or much worse because you only have to be like 3 notifications down before you don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And if you have 3 things above that that aren't very important because you've not been culling the herd
Mhm.
of notifications, and you mostly look at it on your lock screen and not in notification center, yeah, those are some things I'm looking at really carefully.
Yeah. I'm curious how those are going to go. Mostly because I think it was Craig Hockenberry who said improving notifications by getting rid of a bunch of notifications, which is kind of what it looked like. There's less space for them, and then also, like you said, the arrangement of them, like if the one that you want is important and your other ones are still set to be time sensitive,
Yeah.
you don't get much of that. So
So you pull up and then it looks
yeah.
like normal again.
Okay.
Um, so
But you will still
yeah,
need to
but
go
they're
in
still
and turn
treating
down.
the lock screen and notification center like they are the same thing, which means I will be shutting off my picture again forever because I can't have
Can't
a
do it.
background behind my notifications
Yeah.
screen. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, as these features mature and as they become ready for prime time and we're able to get more information about them, I hope you will come back and talk to us about some of those.
Of course.
Excellent. So tell the people where they can find you.
I am ADD Liberator on Twitter, on YouTube. If you're looking for some of the other one-on-one services that I do, it's conquer.consulting. But for just my random tech chat, ADD Liberator's the right place to go.
All right, over on Twitter. So that's going to do it for us. I am your host, Kelly Guimont, and stay tuned to The Slice for more coverage of WWDC 2022. And I will talk to you again soon. In the meantime, be excellent to each other.
We could probably hang out.
I'm kind of thinking so.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Bye.